Hey everyone, Mitch coming in for the Commander Core studio. Welcome to the show. So a brand new god has emerged, and within a brand new budget deck tech, that's right, Ketramose the New Dawn, a very exciting brand new commander from Aether Drift that is already making waves in Commander, and you can make waves with it too with this budget guide, this budget deck. And if you are interested in this deck, make sure you check out that deck list link in the description below. Very budget friendly, according to MTG Goldfish, which is usually a very reliable source of pricing. Around $22 for all the cards outside of the commander, which has not been released yet. The commander right now is hovering around $18 itself, but that very well might go down. Probably will go down by the time the actual set is released. And until the set's released, you can go and pick up the deck and maybe just proxy the commander until then. Anyways, a 4/4 god with Menace, Lifelink, and Indestructible for 3 mana in Orzhov. Can't attack or block unless there are 7 or more cards in exile. Whenever 1 or more cards are put into exile from graveyards and or battlefield during your turn, you draw a card and you lose 1 life. This is a commander that takes things in a brand new direction that we've never seen. Okay, one aspect of it does. The whole blinking things, absolutely, you can use and abuse that, and we'll talk about plenty of ways to do that. Yes, even on a budget in a big way. But also, of course, getting rid of things from graveyards, yeah, that is huge. Exiling things from any graveyard, and all of a sudden you draw a card, lose 1 life. And 1 life for 1 card in Commander is well worth it any day of the week. You got 40 life, you gotta use it. So, yeah, actually get things out of graveyards, get some card advantage, and of course, yeah, use and abuse blink effects to get an absurd amount of card advantage, and yeah, lose some life in the process. But that's not the worst thing. We got ways to make up for that. We've got ways to win. Let's jump into that and more with the tactics. First up, tactic number 1, 1 at a time. First up, there's Scrabbling Claws. We're going to be getting rid of cards 1 at a time with this gem of an artifact for 1. Tap, target player exiles a card from their graveyard. You can also pay 1 to sacrifice and exile target card from a graveyard to draw a card. So this is a great repeatable draw engine for us in combination with our commander. Again, it doesn't matter what we get out of a graveyard. We can pick any opponent, or ourselves if we really want to, but any opponent, and all of a sudden they pick whatever to exile, and all of a sudden we draw a card, we lose 1 life. It's just tap, draw a card, lose 1 life. That is amazing. And again, in a panic scenario, yeah, we can sacrifice this, get rid of a specific card, and draw basically 2 cards again with it, thanks to our commander. Moving on, Apostle of Purifying Light. 2/1, Human Cleric, protection from black, pay 2, exile target card from a graveyard. Yeah, it does cost 2 to do that, but that is okay. Again, this is basically, again, 2 mana, draw a card. Moving on, Crook of Condemnation, an artifact for 2, pay 1, tap, exile target card from a graveyard, pay 1, exile it, exile all cards from graveyards. That is a panic button that we don't want to push the button on most of the time, but you never know. There could be like a Rise to the Dark Realms kind of a thing that happens. You're like, maybe I will give up my card draw engine for that, but regardless, a great way to keep drawing cards. Next up, though, the golden pig of this deck. The number 1 card out of 99, in my opinion, that is Withered Wretch. A 2/2 zombie cleric for 2 mana in black that is very simple, very effective. Pay a single mana, exile target card from a graveyard. Essentially, this is pay a mana, draw a card, lose 1 life. And that is absolutely absurd. On top of that, of course, it is great graveyard hate for our opponents' things where, again, if they're playing a Reanimator deck or a deck that maybe has some flashback cards or any deck that actually wants to utilize cards out of the graveyard or recur them, we can say, yeah, if you try to get that, thing back or, back in play or whatever you're going to do with it, recast it if it's a flashback card. No, it's not going to happen. I'm getting rid of that. And by the way, I get to draw a card and lose 1 life in the process. So again, an absurd draw engine that, again, has some utility to it. Absolutely amazing. Withered Wretch, the golden pig. Moving on, the other aspect of our commander, though, with the next tactic, we're going to be exiling things with Fiend Hunter, a 1/3 human cleric for 3 mana in white, enters the battlefield and may exile another target creature. When this leaves the battlefield, you bring that creature back. Now, keep in mind, this does not specify under an opponent's control. We don't have to target an opponent's creature with this. We can actually just, Fiend Hunter, put something out there in storage of our own. So again, when we do that, we draw a card, we lose 1 life, and of course, we can set ourselves up with some loops. And yeah, these infinite loops can be absolutely deadly. Next up, Werefox Bodyguard, a 2/2 with Flash Elf. Fox Knight for 3 mana. enters the battlefield, exile up to one other target non-fox creature until it leaves the battlefield. Pay 1 and a white, sacrifice it, you gain 2 life. Again, yeah, all of our other creatures essentially in this deck are really not foxes, so that's great. But again, it can be another Fiend Hunter type effect, and one with Flash, where we can get rid of something temporarily and then bring it back. Faceless Butcher, a 2/3 Nightmare that costs 4 mana in black, enters the battlefield, exile target creature. When it leaves the battlefield, we bring it back. Now again, with these types of effects, sure, you can get rid of your opponent's things. If you really need to, great, just do so, okay? But what you're going to be doing again is with these, if you do get 3 of them essentially in a loop, they can go infinite. You have one exiling the other, and the other one is in exile, exiling another one, and you just keep going again and again, essentially, and having infinite ETBs, infinitely the battlefield triggers. Okay, Rule Slayer's out there, not technically infinite, and yes, you do have a limited health supply, right? But that being said, yeah, we got ways to mitigate that, and you essentially at a certain point can just draw whatever you want in your deck and win in many ways. Glorious Protector, a great card as well. 3/4 Angel, Cleric, Flash Flying, enters the battlefield, exile any number of target non-angel creatures you control until it leaves the battlefield. So a great way to, again, get rid of multiple things at the exact same time, and all of a sudden, again, store them up and, yeah, and exile them when they come back. Yeah, you get a lot of value out of them. On top of course, the card draw you're going to be getting from it. Icewind Stalwart, a 3/3 Tiefling Warrior. When it enters the battlefield, exile up to one target non-warrior creature until end of turn, return to the battlefield on its own control. So again, one that actually says, you know what? I'm just going to have you come away and then come right back right away. And then all of a sudden, yeah, get that value right away. So again, if you have any ETBs, you can easily use and abuse those with those. But of course, also goes in for things like Restoration Angel, a 3/4 Angel with Flash and Flying, enters the battlefield, exile target non-angel creature control, then they card to the battlefield under your control. Yeah, Restoration Angel, then the Iceling Steward, and they all kind of like go infinite in various ways. You need a little less though with Restoration Angel and Icewind because, yeah, they can just keep blinking each other again and again and again. Albedo Adrian, go infinite and make an absurd amount of creatures. A 4/4 Human Warrior for 5 mana. Enters the battlefield, exile any number of target non-land permanents you control until it leaves the battlefield. Create a 1/1 white soldier creature token for each permanent exiled this way. So essentially, again, you're storing those up, and while you're doing so, you're making a massive, unstoppable army. And again, yes, Rule Slayer's out there, technically not infinite, but yeah, you can kind of get there if you really need to. Changeling Hero, 4/4 Shapeshifter with Changeling for 5 mana, champion a creature. What that means essentially is that when this comes into play, you sacrifice it unless you exile another creature you control from the game. When this leaves play, it comes back. So again, basically a Fiend Hunter type effect, but on this really weird Shapeshifter dude. Anyways, Lumbering Battlement, kind of like Glorious Angel, essentially. The Glorious Protector, I should say. A 4/5 Beast of Vigilance for 5 mana, enters the battlefield, exile any number of other target non-token creatures you control until it leaves the battlefield, and gets +2/+2 for each exiled card. So this can actually be huge and massive, a giant creature for you, but also, of course, it's just a great storage system for you as well. Just, hey, you know what, get all those creatures out there, maybe some ETBs, utilize them, but also, of course, utilizing the LTBs. Finally, Wisp Weaver Angel, a 4/4 Angel Flying, enters the battlefield, exile a target creature control, return it right back to the battlefield, on its control. Kind of like, you know, our other angel that does the exact same thing, but no angel restriction on it. So yeah, this can definitely go infinite with a multitude of things. Next tactic, though, outside of our blinking creatures or our, Fiend Hunter type exile creatures, we also have some blink spells, and instant speed ones are huge for us when it comes to certain combos. Flicker of Fate, a great card for us. Instant for 2 mana. Blink a creature enchantment. Return to the battlefield under its control. The ones that we really care about are the ones that bring them back right away, because yes, there's other ones out there that are like a delayed blink effect. We really, again, for certain combos, want to make sure that our creatures are coming back right away. Slip on the Ring. Exile target creature you own, then return to the battlefield under your control. The ring tempts you. Keep in mind, this one actually can be utilized if our creatures get stolen, essentially. We can bring them back with this too. Acrobatic Maneuver. Blink a creature, essentially. Draw a card. That 1 extra mana for that 1 extra card draw. Quite nice. Then there's Scroll Shift, very similar. Exile up to 1 target artifact creature or enchantment you control, bring it right back and draw a card as well. And finally, Pegasus Guardian. It has an adventure, rescue the fowl, exile a creature, bring it right back under its own control. And also it's a 3/3 flying at the beginning of your end step. If a party controlled left the battlefield this turn, you make a 1/1 Pegasus. Not the worst thing, again, that's going to be happening quite a bit. So there you go, some extra value to be had there. But yeah, mostly it's great just for that blink effect. Moving on, though, another source of advantage, one that we don't have to really even pay attention to. We just get these cards out, and all of a sudden, it's just extra value as the game is going on. Stone of Eric, a ledger artifact for a single mana. If a creature an opponent controls would die, exile it instead. Pay 2-tap, sacrifice it, exile target player's graveyard, draw a card. Yeah, I mean, if we need to, again, that can be a panic button sacrifice, essentially. But essentially, again, being able to have those creatures exile automatically when they die our opponent's creatures, that means that we are, as long as it's on our turn, drawing a card, losing 1 life. Draugr Necromancer, very similar. 4/4 Zombie Cleric for 4 mana in black. If a non-tone creature opponent controls would die, exile with an ice counter on it instead. We can also cast those spells and basically utilize mana as we want to for those spells too. So not only are we getting advantages, again, card advantage for stealing our opponent's things, yeah, I mean, in exile, but we actually get to play them too, which is quite lovely and can really change a game. Next up, though, a very strange creature that gets its own tactic because, well, it's kind of unlike anything else out there. It's a 3/4 worm called 4 mana that's called Salt Skidder. It says whenever another creature comes into play, you remove it from the game, return to the battlefield, arms those control at the end of the turn. Basically, this just keeps exiling itself whenever any creature comes into play, which is awesome and amazing. Kind of like Norin-ish. This is basically a creature that says, you know what, I don't want to be around when other creatures come into play, so I'm gone. So essentially, this just keeps blinking itself, and you're going to be able to get, again, free draw on your turn because of that. And of course, any other triggers that you might have that we'll be getting to very shortly, even on your opponent's turns as well. So now let's move on to our next tactic and talk about some gains. Hinterland Sanctifier, a 1/2 Rabbit Cleric for a single mana. Whenever another creature you control enters, you gain 1 life. We've got a lot of these kinds of effects, and they can be absolutely amazing. Keep in mind, again, our commander does lose us life, which is kind of a bummer sometimes, but not all that big of a deal. We can actually just mitigate it, again, when we're using our blink effects with something like this. Again, we have a creature come into play because we blinked it. Awesome, we gain a life. Even though we had a creature leave the battlefield, we lost life with that. That's okay. Again, being able to gain life as well can be huge with these. And again, low the ground, easy. Lunarch Veteran, yet another one, a 1/1 human cleric for a single mana. Another creature in his battlefield under control, you gain 1 life. Lovely. We can also disturb it out of our graveyard. Flips over into a 1/1 flyer. Another creature you control leaves the battlefield, you gain 1 life. Put in a grave from anywhere, exile it instead. So keep in mind, actually on the way out, that's actually going to help us out too. Daxos, Blessed by the Sun, a 2-star demigod for white. Toughness equal to the devotion of white, so that can actually be quite big, a good blocker for us. Another creature control enters the battlefield or dies, gain 1 life, so that's a lot of life gain to be had throughout the game. Distinguished Conjurer, a 1/2 human wizard for 2 mana. Another creature enters the battlefield under control, you gain 1 life, so yeah, yet another way to keep gaining life. Also pay 5 in tap, exile a creature, bring it back, basically blink a creature, so yeah, use and abuse ETBs. Also, core Sadistic Pilgrim, 2/2 death touching, Phyrexian Core Cleric for 2 mana. Whenever the creature enters the battlefield under control, you gain 1 life. Creature you control dies, each opponent loses 1 life, so this one helps us and also punishes our opponents too. We'll talk about some other punishers here in a little bit as well. Compassion Order, though, 2 mana human cleric for 2/2. Whenever another creature enters battlefield under control, you gain 1 life. Very simple, very effective. Life Creed Duo, a 1/2 Batbird flying for 2 mana. You're going to see a pattern here. Creature enters, you gain 1 life. Dazzling Angel, 2/3 Flying Angel for 3 mana. Another creature you control enters, you gain 1 life. Core Celebrant, a 1/4 for 3 mana Core Cleric. Whenever it or another creature enters battlefield under control, you gain 1 life. Pious Evangel, 2/2 human cleric. You want to guess what this one does? Whenever another creature is about to control, you gain 1 life. You can also pay 2 taps, sacrifice a creature to flip it over, and it flips into a 2/4 human cleric, Wayward Disciple. Whenever another creature control dies, target opponent loses 1 life, and you gain 1 life. So, yeah, kind of a Blood Artisty type effect. Finally, though, Hear the Pride in a big way. 2/3 Cat Cleric for 4 mana. Another creature enters the battlefield to control, you gain 2 life. So again, if we've got multiple of these, little life gain effects in play, we can actually even gain life when we are blinking things, which is lovely. Again, draw cards, lose some life, but gain more life. Or just with this in play, gain even more life on top of that. That being said, with our gains, our opponents have pains. Let's talk about Vizkopa Guildmage, a 2/2 human wizard for 2 mana. Pay 3 mana in total. Target creature gains lifelink until end turn. That's nice, but what's really important is 3 mana. Whenever you gain life this turn, each opponent loses that much life. This is game ending for our opponents. Again, we've got so many different ways to gain life. We just went through all of them. There's a lot of ways to gain life. And essentially with this, we say, oh, okay, with our blink strategy, with our effects that do that, with maybe some of our combos, yeah, we can gain all the life we want to gain and drain our opponents out. Speaking of which, Marauding Blight Priest, a 3/2 Vampire Cleric. Whenever you gain life, each opponent loses 1 life. That is an amazing effect. Again, we have all those different instances of life gain. And of course, if we're going infinite, we just win. Wisp, Drinker, Vampire, a 2/4 Vampire Rogue for 4 mana flying. Whenever a creature of power 2 or less enters the battlefield under control, each opponent loses 1 life, you gain 1 life. You can also pay 7, and creature control of power 2 or less gain Death Touch and Lifelink until turn, which is very nice. That being said, again, what is important is small things drain our opponents, and we've got a lot of small things, especially ones that we can blink. Epicure of Blood, a 4/4 Vampire for 5 mana. Again, gain life. Each opponent loses 1 life. Psychosis Crawler goes about in a different way, though. A star for Phyrexian for 5 mana. Power toughness each equal to the number of cards in your hand, which again can be absolutely massive. On top of that, though, whenever you draw a card, each opponent loses 1 life. So this is going to punish our opponents as we punish ourselves again with that card draw, losing that life ourselves. Our opponents share in the misery and also lose life too, but also we probably have ways to mitigate that life loss, so we're going to be winning instead. Defiant Bloodlord, though, of course, finally a 4/5 Vampire flying for 7 mana. Whenever you gain life, target opponent loses that much life. Again, we're going to be gaining a ton, draining our opponents out, and winning. Moving on to the ramp, though. First up, there's Wayfarer's Bauble. Pay 2, tap, sacrifice. Get it basic land into play tapped. Everflowing Chalice, a very flexible mana rock. Pay 2, taps for 1. Pay 4, taps for 2, etc., etc. Arcane Signet, cost 2, taps for either of our colors. Charcoal Diamond, enters the battlefield, taps for a black. Fractured Power Stone, enters the battlefield, untapped, taps for a colorless. Then we've got Marble Diamond, also like Charcoal, enters the battlefield, taps for a white, though. Loyal Warhound, a great ETB to use and abuse. 3/1 Vigilant Dog for 2 mana. Enters if an opponent controls more lands than you. Yeah, we're not in green, so yes, it's going to happen. Searchlight for a basic plains, put on the battlefield, tap, then shuffle. So yeah, a great ETB for us to use and abuse. Mind Stone, cost 2, taps for 1, pay 1, tap, sacrifice, draw a card. Orzhov Signet filters our mana, which is amazing. Prismatic Lens can also filter our mana, but in a different way, or just tap for 1. Then there's Decanter of Endless Water. You have no maximum hand size. That is huge for us again because, well, we're going to be drawing an absurd amount of cards, and it can tap for 1 mana of any color. Finally, Honored Heirloom, taps for 1 mana of any color. Also pay 2, tap, exile a card from a graveyard. So again, that targeted exile can be massive, a good card draw engine for us. And finally, outside of just getting rid of our opponents in general with, our deck, our combos, all those things, we also have ways to get rid of their things. First up, D-Spark, instant for 2 mana, get rid of a permanent mana value for greater, just exile, get away forever. Unyielding Gatekeeper, we can disguise it. And then also it says when it's turned face up, exile target non-land permanent. If you controlled it, bring it back tapped. Otherwise, they make a 2/2 white and blue detective creature token. So either get rid of something and replace with a 2/2, which is amazing, or again, a great blink effect for us. Crush Contraband, a great way to get rid of multiple things. Choose one or both. Exile an artifact, exile enchantment. 2 things for 4 mana. Lovely. Cleansing Nova, or get rid of a lot of things. Choose one to draw all creatures or all artifacts and enchantments. Flexible for us when we need it. Settle Beyond Reality, though, a great spell too. Choose one or both. Blink a creature you don't control, blink a creature you do control, or get rid of something permanently you don't control. Lovely. Austere Command, though, choose 2 to draw artifacts, enchantments, small creatures, big creatures, whatever you need to do, just do it. Then there's Consecrate or Consume. Consecrate, get rid of a card out of a graveyard, draw a card. Consume, target player sacrifice a creature with the greatest power when creatures you control, and all of a sudden you gain that much life. Great, gain the power. Then we've got Duplicant, enters the battlefield, get rid of something permanently, exile target non-token creature, and also this just basically becomes a copy of it in a way. I mean, it comes its creature type, and it also, gets the power and toughness of it. Then there's Patron of the Vein, 4/4 Vampire Shaman with flying. ETB, destroy target creature opponent controls. Whenever a creature opponent controls dies, you exile automatically. Again, we talked about those cards earlier. Amazing. Put a counter on each vampire you control. So this and some others can help us out as well. But yeah, being able to just use and abuse that ETB is amazing. And on top of that, again, the free card draw on opponent's creatures die. Angel of the Ruins. Hey, let's just get rid of some things permanently. A 5/7 Angel of Flying enters the battlefield, exile to target artifacts and enchantments, or you can plain cycle it away. So again, a great ETB to use and abuse. But the best one has got to be Ashen Rider. Oh my goodness. 5/5 Archon for 7 mana in total. 8 mana in total, I should say. Flying, enters the battlefield or dies, exile target permanent. It's worth that mana. 7 or 8 does not matter. Once this is in play and we can use and abuse this with blink effects, our opponents are going to be gone. Especially if we get in a certain loop, where we are just, I get this blinking infinitely, essentially, with like a lumbering battlement, and all your things are gone, including your lands. Goodbye. And with that, this episode is coming to a close. Comment below with your thoughts on it. And of course, as always, thanks again, and have a good one. This show and episodes like this one are possible thanks to viewers like you. If you're looking for an easy way to help support this show, make sure that you like, share, and subscribe. Also, hit that bell notification icon so you don't miss any new episodes. You can also go check out our playmats and other merchandise at thecommandersquarters.com. Another easy way to support this show is with our TCG Player affiliate links. So whether you're buying a deck or individual cards, you can use this general link right here or one in the description. And the final way that you can support this show is by supporting us directly by becoming a patron. There are many benefits to being a patron, and I truly couldn't do this without all of their support.